Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Moon Mama podcast. I'm Bria Jamie. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, spiritual practitioner, and creator. And I've been having this episode on my mind for the past week. I've been wanting to make a podcast. I have been doing some really deep soul work regarding birth, regarding just this whole process of coming into this world, our soul's evolution. If you've heard my other podcasts, this is something I love to talk about: the soul, spirituality, our journey, and us as individuals, as spiritual beings. And this week coming up in a few days actually is my birthday, my 30th birthday, and it's so wild. And it's also so different than what I imagined years ago. I had extravagant dreams of a huge party and all these people and just all these things, right? And honestly, none of that's happening. And it just reminds me how we evolve and change so much over the years. And I'm just reflecting back on all the changes I've been through, all the challenges I've overcame, all the things I've learned about myself throughout my whole journey here on Earth. And it's just an ever evolving story that takes us way back to even before we were born. And it's pretty insane. It's deep when you look at it that way. This is all about perspective. Now, I'm constantly soul searching. I'm constantly, transformation, reading the books, doing the work, doing the practice. It's something very important to me that's been a part of my path, a part of my journey as healing, I've been healing. There's so many experiences and traumas that I've had to really work through and forgive myself and forgive others and learn more and more about my existence here, why I'm here, why I chose this, why I chose the family that I chose, why I've chosen the path that I'm on now. So there's just so many different things that happen as we grow, as we get older, as we have birthdays. And this being my 30th birthday, it's like Saturn just went in my Saturn return. I just had my Saturn return, and I feel it, being pregnant again for the second time. There's just all these little synchronicities too. It's funny. I'm having a girl and she's my second baby, and we're both when I turn 40, she'll be turning 10. She'll be her first double digits. She'll be one next year. She's being born this year on my 30th year. Anyway, little things like that, I love to pay attention to. I just think it's just more of a reason of God, source, alignment. It's just so beautiful. And so I've been reading a lot of books. And one of the books that I'm reading is called Sacred Birthing. I'm not sure if I mentioned it in the last one, but I started reading it. And whoa, it's so good. I was reading right before Pearls of Sacred Birthing, it's by the same author. I think it's Sunny Carl or something like that is her name. But she talks about birth therapy and birth hypnosis. And I was reading Spirit Babies before, and I was already feeling called to this. And then in my other book, Labor Like a Goddess, I'm reading that was the first thing to do is dive into your own birth story. And it's funny because on one of my vision boards, I literally have it says learn your birth story. And I have chosen to do that work, and I've done that this last week actually. And I wrote a blog post on it. It was pretty vulnerable. I actually shared some of the actual messages and the experiences I had during my own hypnosis of doing this birth therapy, regressing into when I was born, the day I was born, the day I came earthside. And it's whoa, I've done past life regression, with a therapist before, and hypnosis. I've done my Lives Between Lives session, and that's that's so cool. Like that was so, I will never forget that experience. I will never forget the information. You know, it was so beautiful. But not only that, so I didn't go into my actual birth any time in my life until now. It's funny, you know, me turning 30, it's a milestone, you know, it's like a huge birthday. It's a huge birthday. Honestly, like I went back and forth so many times about what I wanted to do for my birthday. You know, I've had some like down moments. I've also been like, I don't have people in my life anymore like I did when I was turning 21. You know, there's not that party sense anymore. I've gone through so many shifts in friendships, relationships, who would actually show up to, and like, who do I really want to spend time with? And what do I really want to do? What do I really want to be doing? I have a family now. It's a little different. And I have a new baby on the way. So I'm also pregnant, and like partying super hard is not really what I'm choosing to be doing for my birthday. Instead, I'm choosing to do hypnosis and regress into figuring out about my birth story. No, but like, it's just so cool. So I wrote a blog post. You can go check it out. I'll link it below. But you know, I'll tell you guys a little bit about it and why this work is so magical. And I encourage you guys to do the same too. Either find a therapist that does hypnosis or past life regression, and actually ask for birth therapy, or someone who specializes. So this woman in sacred birthing, she specializes in birth therapy, or that's something she did. She practiced for years. She's actually a midwife, and she's just amazing. I love this book, guys. I seriously recommend it to everybody, every woman who's going to give birth. Please read this book. Like, do yourself a favor. It is amazing. And I just love all the wisdom. I resonate with it, and it's just, wow. So I did this birth therapy, and it's really like opened my eyes so much. I talk about in my blog post like all the details, you know, how my mom, she was 24, you know, she had a typical hospital birth, and male doctor, you know, she had an epidural. It was very protocol, you know, it was very hospital birth. And I haven't shared my birth story yet with me and Soul. But if you guys don't know, I had a birth center birth, a all natural birth center birth. And I've been very like, no, I'm not going to have a birth in a hospital. And I won't. I don't want to. It does not feel right to me. I'll talk about that in a second, because that's actually something I really want to share on here. Why not a hospital birth, and why I'm choosing a birth center, and why also not a home birth. I'll talk about that in a second. But talking back about this birth therapy and going back into regressing, I have literally realized so much about me. And you know what's so crazy, and I know, you know, we don't think about this, but we babies, as babies, we actually feel the birth, and it is not easy. You know, we're actually we do feel pain. Maybe just we don't remember, right? We don't remember, but we're in that body and we're coming through, and we have to actually work together with our mothers to come out of the body and to actually be our own person and be able to breathe that first breath of life. And, you know, our soul really starts to integrate after those few seconds after breathing fresh air from earth. And once we're cut off from the cord of, you know, the placenta and mom, it's like we're on our own journey fully, completely, like in our own body. But in all the different scenarios, you guys, like, wow, like when the mother's medicated, when the mother or the mother isn't, whether the environment you're in, the procedures that get to happen, who's in the room, like all of it has so much to play throughout our lives. And a lot of times, once we do this work, you start to realize why you've been dealing with a certain thing. Like for me, I was literally born in a frustration. I was frustrated upon my arrival at everybody in the room, the situation going on, feeling rushed. Like once I was out, not being right with my mom the whole time, a male that's not my father, not my mother touching me right away, then I'm like, ugh, your hands are just like, don't touch me. Why you? You know, like, get me back to mom, literally. And also just like, there's just frustration of like, but also like sense of relief. It was very like up and down, but also something I want to talk about is this whole epidural thing. Like, I've never had epidural. I had Soul completely natural, and it's just, it's, you do the, you know, you get an epidural and you're literally depressing your body, and the baby is feeling depressed. And I just read, and it just makes sense, because everybody I know that their mothers had an epidural has experienced depression in their life. I've experienced crazy amounts of depression to the point of like suicidal attempts for years. I mean, being on all kinds of medication. And I felt, and going back into this birth therapy, I felt that like numbness. I felt it as a baby. And we don't think about this. You know, like, I never would have thought about that until this time. I mean, I already knew, like, when I was pregnant with Soul and going to have Soul, I was like, I'm going the natural route. Something didn't feel right to me. And I think it's because I experienced the effect of the epidural also. But unless you do this type of hypnosis work on your own birth, and whether your mother had an epidural or not, you know, you wouldn't really think about it. You wouldn't like relate. Oh, I've had depression all my life because of this epidural. No, and that's not necessarily the case, right? We do create circumstances and situations for ourselves that, you know, we get involved in, and that also, you know, gives us the symptom of depression. But it's so very common to, when we're already coming karmically into this world, and this is a situation that we're coming into, it's like, it's already like imprinted in our soul, in our hearts, in our bodies. And we attract that, you know, we chose that. So that was also part of my karmic story. It's part of all of our karmic stories, the circumstances that we come into at birth. And that is why this work is so important. So if you are struggling in life, or if you just want to know more, or just curious even, I really recommend doing this work. You will really find healing once you realize, like, wow. And you know what? Like, I have a lot more compassion and sympathy for my mother that I didn't have before. I also feel closer to her now than I did before. So in the blog post, I talk about, you know, feelings I have, you know, because of knowing this information, and like how I want to do differently for my children, why I want to do differently for my children. It's just so healing, and I really want pleasure for my births. I really want to experience. I want to experience full pleasure, so that my children can also experience soft, gentle pleasure and gentle birth. And it is absolutely 1,000,000,000% possible. And I it's just, I think about Soul's birth, and I can't wait to share that birth story soon too. Because that's interesting in itself too. And like I said, we all choose our births, we choose the circumstances, we choose our parents. Okay. Like, marinate on that. Seriously. Because it's so empowering once you can really just know that this is, we are so empowered as souls, individuals, to create our experience here and express our divinity, live our divinity, be who we're meant to be, you know, give our gifts to the world. Why we choose to come here is to resolve this karma that we've created in other lives. And it's so cool. So I have a lot of respect for my mom after doing this work, even more. And like, I forgive her too, because I think there was some times I was annoyed. I was annoyed during the birth. I was annoyed and curious, like, I just wanted to go home. I'm like, where's mom? And they separate you so quickly in the hospitals. Like, they don't encourage skin to skin 24/7. You're not carrying your baby 24/7. The baby goes in a heater, warm heater thing, and it's artificial heat. And you're like, where's my real heat? Where's the real body heat, the hormonal heat that you need to feel from your mother? Which is why skin to skin is so beyond important, you guys. And I don't understand how in hospitals they can say that. I literally saw a sign on somebody's post recently. Maybe it wasn't that recent, but I saw a sign like in the hospital. They had just had their baby, and it said the safest place for a baby to sleep is in a crib on a mattress, lying face up, or something like that. And I'm blown away, because no, the safest place for a baby to sleep is on mom, is on skin to skin. That is safest. And so here they're advocating to separate your baby from you. And I'm sorry, but that's not right at all. I don't know where they came up with that. Babies don't want to feel that. Babies do not want to be separated from their mothers at 2 hours old. No. They want to feel your breathing, you know. Yes, Soul had to go sit in a car seat and go home. Yes, he slept apart from me for a few minutes, but it was like the energy's different in the room where it's not like pushed on you and you're being rolled away from you. And I get it, you know, there's situations and circumstances where it's like, it's not a choice, but also I feel like it is a choice in a way. There's always a lot of fear that comes with the medical route, period, because that's why a lot of the situations happen is because of fear, because of traumas, because of guilt, because of unresolved issues subconsciously. This is how we attract these situations. And I know that's like a hard pill to swallow sometimes, especially for a lot of people. You know, when you've gone through something really difficult or traumatic, and it's hard to be like, well, maybe there's something deeper that I'm not looking at that attracted this circumstance and this situation. And you know what the good news is that you can always change it and you can always heal from it. So you're not in a stuck place. You're not in a lost place, or, you know, no one's coming out to get you. So, I know it's like a lot of information, and there's so much like studies on this. I've really done the research and read about this because I think it's just so fascinating. It's so important to me. Also, just to this is how we're creating the future. Like us as women, us as mothers, birthing souls into this world, bringing the souls in. We are literally creating the future. And what I want for the future is soft, gentle, beautiful human beings that create and that know their divinity, that feel peace, love, create harmony and balance all around. That's what I want for my children, and what I want for the future, right? Less war, more love, right? Because at the end of the day, it's like that's what we need to do. So it starts with us bringing love into this world, being in a state of love, the way we birth. And you know, I've had to think about this with like the choices I'm making for my second birth. I love my birth center. I'm so grateful that I found them. And I want to talk about this right now, about the reason I'm actually not doing a home birth, although that is my ultimate dream. I'm pretty sure reasons are very obvious why I won't do a hospital birth. I don't like interventions. I don't want anybody coming in between me and my sacred space. I don't want to project or assume any fear on any potential horror outcomes. No, I'm not putting that in my vibrational field. That's not going to happen. I'm having a soft, gentle, beautiful birth. I'm holding the intention for that. So I don't need to be in an environment where there's a what if. Oh, well, it's safer because what if? Okay, that's a lot of people's story. And that's not my story personally. That might irritate some people, but like, to each their own, you know, and that's what you have to realize when you're raising a family, when you're choosing to have children, is you have to do things your own way. Whatever makes you in your highest vibrational field your safest, because when you're at your safest, that's when you're able to birth your baby in a safe, soft, gentle, beautiful way where they're born in complete bliss and pure love and harmony. So for me, that's the birth center. I live in a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, upstairs with a really nasty neighbor downstairs, unfortunately, and just everyone around. Like we don't talk to them really because everyone kind of minds their own business. But there's some shit talkers around in our community, and I don't feel comfortable. I personally don't feel 100% safe and like vulnerable and like cozy at my house. Now I've made a beautiful, lovely magic tree house, cozy vibe for myself. Yes, we're not going to be here for the next 10 years. You know, we have intentions to move actually this year. But for me, like, yes, I would love a home birth. I dream of the day I will have a home birth, when I feel comfortable and 100% fully home in my home. And it's a practice for me to already every day feel at home in my home. And that's, so honestly, that's something I've been attracting. That's a whole challenge and lesson in itself that I've been working through. And I'm in a phase right now of like working with what I have and making it the best that it can be, and bringing harmony, balance, peace, into my own space, no matter what the circumstances are, no matter who's around. This is what's working out for us right now financially. And our birth center is within 10 minutes. It's so beautiful. They just moved. It's Pure Births is the center. It's in Santa Clarita. It is beyond gorgeous, and I feel so good. I cannot wait to birth in there. Just the way the shower is, the beautiful birthing tub. It's huge. Like, it's just cozy. It's comfortable. It's sacred. It's safe. They do, if God forbid there is anything that happens, I'm just in the right place. I also don't have a birth keeper or support or people anyone really that I know who's had a home birth here in California. It is so wild. The California laws are honestly disgusting when it comes to birth, and like having an out of hospital birth. It's like, it's really, really like, you can't, the whole due date thing. I mean, like, it's like you can't go, even at our birth center, you guys, you can't go past 42 weeks and have a baby. That I literally birthed Soul at 41 weeks and 6 days. That's a whole story. But, I have a lot of things to work with around that whole thing, because that makes me so mad, which is why I would like free birth here. But I'm like, what would I do next? I do not have support right now. I've this is where we're at, and this is why it feels comfortable to just, I love Pure Births. I'm so grateful that I can birth there. And, and I've been working through the disappointment of not having found the proper support around, if I were to have a free birth, the cost to have a home birth here, I just couldn't afford it. This is where we're at, and I keep having to just say that because this is where we're at. I literally don't have to pay a dime to do Pure Births because of my insurance, and I'm just so beyond grateful. And, I would definitely do a free birth or home birth if I had someone in my life that could come over if I needed to, or just feel supported. But honestly, I don't with the circumstances right now, and that's okay. This is my path, my story, and I'm happy and with the decisions that I'm making, and I feel safe with it. And that's ultimately what you want when you are going to give birth. The safest and best place to birth your baby is wherever you feel 1,000,000% safe and comfortable. So creating that space is super important. So I'm excited about that. They just moved into their brand new space. It's been so cool to watch their journey too, because when I was pregnant with Soul, I went to their first birth center. They had literally one birth room. Actually, I think two, maybe. Super, super small. So I had all my prenatal appointments there. Then they moved, and I had my baby there at the new place. And then they just remodeled and did a whole brand new space, like basically downstairs in the same building. So their third place, and my second birth at their third place. So I'm super excited. I highly recommend, just if you are planning on getting pregnant or thinking about your options, just start doing research, really learn about and be conscious and mindful of what you want for your children in your future. And that's my message here today. And it's really about, we are all on our own journey. We're all on our own path. And it's just, the more mindful, the more conscious we can be, the better the world is going to turn out, because of the souls that we're bringing through by the choices that we get to make today, right now, starting with the births of our babies. So, that being said, do the work. If you need help and support doing the work, I'm here for you. I do offer one-on-one mentorship. I would love to help you or give you resources, give you advice on this type of stuff. I I'm hugely, like, I want to figure something out for this California thing, because, like, I'm truly, for people who need, like, financial assistance and want to birth at home, like a free birth, there should be a place or like something where it's like legal, or I don't know. We got to do something about it, but like it should be way more possible, and I should feel like I could be able to do that. And thankfully, I think that the birth center thing is like the best way for a lot of people to do that, especially if they don't live in a safe environment, or, you know, if that's not the ideal place for them is to birth at home. Obviously, the birth center is literally the best option. So highly, 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 highly recommend it. Just think about your options. Be in a place where you can always just feel and know that you and your baby are safe. You don't have to have what if stories, or just because everybody else that you hear does it one way and has a hospital birth, or, you know, does it a C-section or whatever, doesn't mean it has to be your story. Doesn't mean, you know, let go of those fears. You can have a beautiful, perfect birth. A lot of it's generational. My parents, well, my mom, you know, her mom, and they all had, you know, there's a lot of birth trauma there, and that's very real, and we do carry that on. So that's why I'm saying do this work, that inner work, the birth therapy, the hypnosis, figure it out before you bring in souls to this world, so that you can give them a better future and a better path. And that's what I'm here to advocate and talk about. Oh, I'm so excited. Turning 30 in a few days. It's pretty wild. I am planning on I was going to go to the chiropractor and the acupuncturist. The acupuncturist had to cancel, but I'll go next week. But I am going to go to the chiropractor, do a little self-care tomorrow. I have to go take my new driver's license picture. So I figured I'm going to get all dolled up. And then Saturday, hang out with the fam. And then Sunday, have my birthday brunch with my parents and my brother. And then have a little get-together birthday with some friends at this really cool, beautiful Italian vineyard-looking place. Super excited. So hopefully it all goes well. And I just want to feel good. You know, that's the place I'm at. I'm realizing that it's all about feeling good. I'm going to talk more about that in the next podcast, because I got quite a few topics to cover in the next episodes. I've been wanting to do this, and I personally, oh my gosh, we had this eclipse in the beginning of the week. I felt it all last week. I felt frustrated. I felt angry, just like, not in a good place. I don't know about you guys. I don't know how you guys all felt. Let me know how you guys felt about the eclipse. But then the eclipse happened, and things started to settle. Actually, things started to settle a couple days before, I feel like. And it just started, and my fish died. My little fishy Sapphire, he died on Monday, on the eclipse. It was so wild. And honestly, I've been very sad about it. I do feel that life, death, rebirth cycle with the eclipse. It was on a new moon. It was very interesting. The day before, I had walked by, and he was floating, and he was like looking up at the top. I had like a little betta fish. His name's Sapphire. And I was like, is he dead? I was like, hey buddy, are you okay? And he kind of like flinched, and like, it was like he was like, oh, she's here. She notices. And I'm like, hey buddy, are you okay? I gave him some food. And then I saw him like looking like that again, like later that day, and I just tapped it, and he did move. So I was like, okay, Phew, you're good. But I thought he was dead for a minute. Then the next morning, he was dead. So I don't know. I guess it was just his time. We had him for 2 years, a little over 2 years. But was it like too cold in the house? Like, was his tank? You know, I've been thinking about all those things, and ironically enough, that was like, I think the day that I was doing my birth therapy. I don't know. It's just like, whoa. I'm in like a whoa place of like this, just understanding life, death, rebirth. It's really, really cool. So this episode is a little bit longer, but like I said, again, I'm here for you. If you're interested in doing this work, it's so powerful. It's so transformative. It really does heal. And that's what we're here to do, is heal so that we can create a better humanity, a better world. Anyway, it's so nice to be here. If you liked this episode, please give 5 stars, leave a little rating. It does help this show so much. I do really have intentions to grow it and keep coming up on here. And I'm 30 weeks pregnant on my 30th birthday. How freaking cool is that? I'm like so curious, like, if numerology, this girl's gonna be into it. I mean, like, we're all very numerical. That's another thing. We could totally talk about that. But I just wonder if she's gonna be like a life path 3 or born on the 3rd or the 30th or something. I don't know. But it's all cool. It's just so cool. All these little synchronicities and things that just remind us like how we are magic and how we are created so divinely, and we are just all cyclic beings. It's so beautiful, so cool. Anyway, do the work. I'm here for you to support. Let me know if any of this resonated. Thank you so much for listening, and remember, you are magic.